Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDNTV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
Hundreds of families in Ohaji, Egbema local government area of Imo State are still grieving over the loss of their loved ones following last week's fire incident at a local artisanal crude oil refining site where several lives were lost. Some youths in the community told Inside the Niger Delta that no fewer than 500 persons cannot be accounted for since the tragic incident occurred. Correspondent Chika Abodozie, who was at Abaezi community, the location of the fire explosion, tells us more.
We're right here at the abandoned Abaezi camp in Abaezi forest in Egbema, Imo State, where tragedy struck on Friday the 22nd of April 2022 when fire gutted the entire bunkering camp. It had taken a long ride of over an hour from the heart of Abaezi community to the local artisanal refining site located in a thick forest. When our crew arrived at the camp, scores of dead bodies burnt beyond recognition littered the entire area. It is not clear how many lives were lost in the inferno, but sources in the community have it that hundreds of persons may have been killed.
From my community, we should be counting of 100 or 200 that were buried. What about the other communities? What about the neighboring communities? What about those who've not been able to actualize their location? Like a sister we've been searching for her, we've not gotten her location, we've not gotten her address. Called her number for some times and we're not able to get to them. So this is another disaster that has struck Egbema people. Seriously, I am so devastated.
Precisely like my community, we are looking for about 100 and I don't know about other communities. But so many souls, if you look at this place now, you can see that so many people have been burned ashes. You cannot recognize any of them. So the number we can see, you can just manage anyhow. We can't predict any number any longer. You can say 500 or 600.
Abaezi camp covers a vast landmass and served as one of the largest crude oil bunkering sites in the Niger Delta, where bunkers tapped into an oil pipeline running through the area to siphon crude oil. The camp also had a refining site which a local resident Godtime Udogu identified as a source of the fire.
It was a local fire that came out from where they were refining the products. So the fire caught up with the gas here. So everybody that was in here got surrounded by the fire. No single soul escaped, unless the ones that were sitting aside. But the ones that stayed here, almost 400 to 500 people here, they got burnt and none of them escaped.
The location of Abaezi camp is in Egbema, a border community between Imo and River States, where many, including women and children, were busy eking out a living. The tragic incident is blamed on rising poverty levels occasioned by joblessness in the Niger Delta, particularly in Akwa Ibom, Imo and River States, which in a report released by the National Bureau of Statistics in the first quarter of 2021 ranked among 6 states with the highest unemployment rates in the country. It would be recalled that in January 2019, former president of the Movement for the Survival of Ogoni People, Ledum Mite, had warned that it would be practically impossible to dislodge youths engaged in illegal oil bunkering, which for them had become a major source of livelihood.
That industry, if what it is, employs about 500,000 youths in the Niger Delta today. And the GDP of that economy is about 3 times the national average. What that brings to fore is that to pull, you require something dramatic, to pull this group who are now living on 3 times the national average of the GDP out of that into something else. So this is something that becomes very challenging, and we must admit that we have a problem on our hands.
The fire explosion at Abaezi camp follows a series of similar incidents that had claimed many lives in neighboring River State. Executive Director of Youth Advocacy Center, Comrade Donamene Fineface, calls on the River State government to provide alternative sources of livelihood for millions of youths engaged in illegal bunkering in the state.
Let the River State government be able to reactivate the committee that it set up headed by the Deputy Governor, to address issues of alternative livelihood opportunities for youths who are involved in artisanal crude oil refining in the Niger Delta. The federal government should also take steps to make the modular refinery promise the youths of the Niger Delta since 2017 to come on stream so that these youths can have alternative employment from that process.
The advent of illegal oil bunkering in the Niger Delta has resulted in major shortfalls in Nigeria's daily oil production in recent years. In March this year, President Muhammadu Buhari directed Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timi Pre-Silva, Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, and Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, to jointly halt oil theft in the region. In the midst of the colossal economic losses the country has incurred over time, sustained oil bunkering has led to loss of lives and has seriously degraded the environment on which local communities in the Niger Delta depend for their economic survival. Comrade Dunamene Fineface, who faults the federal government's use of force to stop illegal oil bunkering in the Niger Delta, says it cannot continue to shy away from the reality of legalizing artisanal crude oil refining.
Establish the Presidential Artisanal Crude Oil Refining Development Initiative, PACODE, that modifies and of course legalize it artisanal crude oil refining in the Niger Delta, the same way they do for youths who are involved in illegal gold mining in parts of the north and western Nigeria, through the establishment of the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative, PAGMI. So I call on the federal government to intensify effort, not just to crack down on youths who are involved in artisanal refining by sending the military like we have here, but also able to provide alternative livelihood opportunities for some of these youths so that we can have a better environment, a better society where the youths do not depend on criminal activities of this nature to be able to succeed.
At the time of filing this report, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, had discovered over 100 corpses at the Udenze bunkering site. Clearly, the latest fire incident related to illegal oil bunkering in the Niger Delta has the highest number of fatalities and remains the most tragic of similar incidents for now. Needless to say, this is an emergency situation that government at all levels must collectively address without any further delay to save lives and property in the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta,